On the agenda tonight, we're going to be having a listen to Freddie Mercury's isolated vocal with varying degrees of auto-tune added to it to see if we can tell the difference. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So, starting with a disclaimer, because I would never normally attempt to auto-tune Freddie Mercury's voice, being a huge Queen fan myself, but it has been requested, so we're going to be doing that tonight, even though it is sacrilege, I know. What I have done is auto-tuned his voice 3 different ways. The first way is as if I have had to use auto-tune. If somebody came to me as a producer and said, we want you to auto-tune Freddie's voice for a release and you have to use it, I've done it to a level where I think it's not noticeable, and you guys are going to be figuring that out later on. I've done a second version, which I think is more of an industry standard amount of auto-tune where you can start to hear it in there, but the general public might not notice. And the final version that I've done is the full Believe Share 1998 release where we've just put auto-tune fully on the voice and it just sounds ridiculous. So what we're going to do is start with a game, and I'm going to play Freddie's vocal, the same verse, twice over. One of them has been auto-tuned, and I don't want you to skip forward and cheat. I want you to try and listen to it and tell which one has been auto-tuned. This is going to be the version that I would do as a producer in terms of being forced to do it, but not totally wrecking the vocal with auto-tune. So there are going to be 2 versions. I'm going to play through both of them. They're going to be a random order. So to begin with, we're going to have a listen to this verse and see what you think.
Got no feel, I got no rhythm, I just keep losing my beat. I'm okay, I'm alright. I ain't gonna face nor defeat, I just gotta get out of this prison cell. Someday I'm gonna be free, Lord. Me somebody to love, find me.
So that was the first version. Now we'll listen to the second version.
Got no feel, I got no rhythm, I just keep losing my beat. I'm okay, I'm alright. I ain't gonna face nor defeat, I just gotta get out of this prison cell. Someday I'm gonna be free, Lord. Somebody to love, find me.
And there we have it. Those are the 2 examples. I'm hoping that you can't tell which one's been auto-tuned, because I believe myself, especially if I had to do it to Freddie, that's what it should be like, that you shouldn't be able to notice it and it shouldn't take away any emotion from the vocal. So that is my version. If you thought that the first one was auto-tuned, then you'd be correct. If you thought it's the second one, obviously you'd be incorrect. But what I'm going to do is have a look at the waveforms so you can see the subtle difference in the tuning that's happened to Freddie's voice, but without affecting the overall feel. Having not used auto-tune before myself in the studio as a producer, I'm amazed at how badly it is being used, considering the auto-tune that I'm using is the stock auto-tune that comes with my DAW, my digital audio workstation. So I haven't spent any money on a fancy auto-tune plugin, but the way that I've applied it is, and by the way, this isn't pitch correction. I'm not going through each vocal phrase and just adjusting it, a little bit sharp, a little bit flat, just getting it right. I have just applied a universal setting that I've just told it to do. It's auto-tune, so I've just told it to do it. So I'm going to jump into what we've already listened to, what we just listened to then, so that we can now see the waveforms. By the way, the yellow line is Freddie's voice, and we've got pitch on the left-hand side of this graph. So if the yellow line's going up, it means that Freddie's voice is ascending. The pitch is getting higher. If it goes down, it's descending, getting lower. Let's have another listen.
Got no feel, I got no rhythm. I just keep losing my beat. I'm okay, I'm alright. I ain't gonna face nor defeat. I just gotta get out of this prison cell. Someday I'm gonna be free. Lord, me somebody to love, find me.
And there we have it. So now we can see the waveforms on screen. As I have said in these previous videos, waveforms don't lie. This is the subtle auto-tune that I have placed on Freddie's voice. You might be able to see here how it's just been raised to the D sharp. This is auto-tune, this is original. Hopefully you can see it all move up a little bit. And that's what the auto-tune's doing, is taking the note and just raising it up. Now, the way that I've applied it is adjusting the onset of the effect. And what that means is, when it's really obvious, it's been applied immediately onto the voice. So it means that as soon as you hear a voice, it's snapped to a particular note. Whereas you can delay that onset, which I have done by 136 milliseconds, I believe, in order to get it to sound more natural, which means that it doesn't auto-tune the very first part of Freddie's voice, but it does a little bit later on, 136 milliseconds after you've heard him start to sing. So your brain doesn't hear the auto-tune first, it hears Freddie's natural voice first of all. And I think that's a huge part of applying auto-tune tastefully and subtly so that it doesn't take away the emotion. You hear the entrance into that vocal phrase from the singer as they mean it, and then the note gets tweaked by auto-tune as he enters that next phrase. So jumping back into the image, I'm going to just get back to the original vocal. We'll have a little look down, see if there's any other changes going on. Here's one. You can see that this is auto-tune. That's original. This is auto-tune. It just pops up and down. Hopefully you can see the difference there. Let's go back to the original. Come back here. Now this is where there are a lot of notes that Freddie's hitting. So this is his original, by the way, and now auto-tune. And you can see how when we flip between the two, another section here, it just pops up directly over the line. And that's what auto-tune is doing. And as you guys have been saying in the comments, it doesn't sound natural. And that's because auto-tune is so strict with snapping to notes and the fact that notes and music doesn't work in this way. We've applied something to look at notes musically, but it's something that's called equal temperament. And I don't want to get into all of that, but it means that it's something that's manipulated what we hear so that we can look at it and understand it, but it's not strictly exactly where the notes are. I guess it's kind of like when we've got a calendar from January to December and we need to have a leap year in there in order to keep everything the same and keep it working, we have to kind of adjust it a bit to make it work. It's the same with auto-tune, that it's not exactly how notes and music and frequencies work, but this is a great demonstration of what auto-tune does. It snaps the note over the top of the line here, which is the note, the G4, but see how naturally Freddie sang that a little bit flat, but it's just been adjusted up. But I'm hoping with my auto-tune that I've applied, you don't hear this and you don't think, oh, this is auto-tune, it's rubbish, let me move on to another song, potentially. So if I had to do it, this is the level to which I would. So let's jump into now what I would consider a more industry standard application of auto-tune, where you can start to hear it without even looking at the waveforms. If you have been in production for any length of time, you can just tell the sound of auto-tune, but maybe you won't be able to hear the auto-tune on this. Let's have a listen.
Got no feel, I got no rhythm. I just keep losing my beat. I'm okay, I'm alright. I ain't gonna face nor defeat. I just gotta get out of this prison cell. Someday I'm gonna be free, Lord. Me somebody to love, find me.
I'm always ending it on those backing vocals because they are so spot on as well. But let's take that back to the beginning of the verse and start to see where this more severe auto-tune is coming in and how it's affecting the vocal. So let's just have a flip back to Freddie. And again, there you can see it's a little bit more dramatic now, but it's still snapping up to the note. And as we move along, we'll see a little bit of the difference here. In this case, it has absolutely put the vocal that Freddie was flat of the C4, is put it right onto the line. Again, this is why it starts to sound unnatural. Just to point out why this note here has been auto-tuned and this one hasn't, because it's been such a quick note that it's too quick to register with the auto-tune. This isn't on 0 milliseconds. It's not kicking in straight away. As I said, it's more of an industry standard. They're giving a little bit of time before they're allowing it to kick in. Otherwise, it just sounds ridiculous, as we'll hear at the end of this video. But this phrase was just too fast to get auto-tuned. So it just flew under the radar of the auto-tuning device. But let's have a little move along and look at the waveforms. Again, lots of notes going on here. But by the time we get to the end, I mean, this phrase by Freddie, when he did it unedited, he was so close to pitch. And this is what I mean about Freddie Mercury just being so spot on with his vocals. You can see here is pretty much, if those waveforms continued, it'll be an ascension through the F4. Here, the G4 is slightly flat. He's then slightly flat of the G sharp, but he then ascends his voice in order then to reach it. Now, when we have a look at the strict auto-tune, or at least the stricter auto-tune than I would use, have a little look at the way that here, again, instead of ascending through, we've just gone straight through, and now straight through, again, here, total shift up, and here, where Freddie was flat, the auto-tune doesn't accept that as a note. It just sticks it directly on the line on the note of that G sharp. So that's where the subtlety is lost. Actually, I want to see what this looks like in Freddie's natural voice, and there you go. Look at the way that he ascends to pitch rather than just being put straight on pitch. Again, that's going to sound unnatural. And here, the middle of these waveforms is flat, whereas now we are dead on the line. And here you can maybe see that it's just all getting raised up there. Not by too much, but just enough to make it sound unnatural.
Meet somebody to love, find me somebody to love.
Now, this is the kind of thing that, even with Freddie Mercury's voice and his accuracy, looking at that, the waveforms never lie, you'd say that was one hell of a vocal phrase, accuracy-wise. Look, dead on the line, vibrato came in, either side of the line, perfect. We went down, perfect, perfect. There's even a little touch down here on the D sharp, perfect. C4, perfect. Down to the A sharp and B flat, perfect, perfect. Down, and here we have a descension through. It looks like that might be a breath or just tailing off a phrase, but let's have a little look at what it looks like. And there you go. This is a natural vocal. We've got above the note here, slightly sharp, but still, your ear would tell you that this is spot on pitch. As we go down, look at the difference we've got here between natural and auto-tune. The natural notes, they don't sound wrong when you listen to Freddie, but they are flat. They're pretty much halfway between notes here. So the auto-tune would tell you, any producer looking at that that's maybe not a singer or a musician would think, oh, that's wrong. So let's just edit it. There you go, spot on. But that's not the way that music works. So as we go down here, and like I've said about Freddie, he's flat, original here, auto-tune, so it's obviously snapped it to the line, but the auto-tune hasn't had to do anything about Freddie's note there because he was already spot on. And this last vocal here, let me just take it back to see what happened there.
Somebody to love.
Okay, it was a wider vibrato that he was applying, so the auto-tune wasn't sure where to snap that to. And talking about the auto-tune not being sure where to snap vocals to, we're going to now have a listen to his vocal, and this is sacrilege, I know, but we're going to have it just turned up all the way and set at 0 milliseconds. So as soon as any input happens, it's going to get auto-tuned. So let's brace ourselves for putting Freddie Mercury through this atrocious auto-tune and see what it sounds like.
Anybody find me somebody to love?
I'm just going to jump in because this does give you an understanding of how auto-tune works. When you just tell it to auto-tune to a particular scale, a particular set of notes, it won't accept anything else. So this is why it sounds so weird. And we can see that from Freddie's vibrato that he's applying here. Auto-tune doesn't accept that, and this is why it wants to snap notes all the time. It did let him get away with a bit of vibrato here because he didn't go further than halfway to the next note. As soon as you go further than halfway, that's it. It's game over. It's going to start snapping it to that note, and any sound you can see here is snapping down to the D sharp. Here, snapping, it's just going to be snapping to the lines, to the notes that it's been programmed for. But let's listen to a little bit more if we can bear it.
Got no feel, I got no rhythm. I just keep losing my beat. I'm okay, I'm alright.
And this is why I've said in previous videos, waveforms don't lie, because this is just a trait of auto-tune. Having these lines being hit all the time, the alarm bells just start to ring because it's not natural. And if I go back to Freddie's original vocal, look at the difference. Look at all the peaks and troughs and how random it looks compared to that strict auto-tune, which is just straight lines, and here, straight line. Everything, when you're looking at a more natural vocal, just looks more random rather than being really organized, like a computer, because a computer is organizing it. It doesn't know how to be subtle, not yet anyway. They might be trying to figure out how to make the computer more humanized, which is the term for it in production, where you have a humanizer, which puts little mistakes in, especially with drum tracks. You can apply a humanizer to make the beat a little bit more random. But anyway, we won't get into that now, but we'll see if we can take a little bit more of the auto-tune. Let's fast forward it to, you can see straight away all of the snapping going on here.
Find me somebody, find me somebody.
And I don't think you need any more evidence of what auto-tune sounds like. Maybe just hearing that, you start to think of other songs. You think, oh, I recognize that kind of sound from this other song that you might like, or a vocalist that you might like. This is the thing about auto-tune. It's got its own sound because of the artifacts that are created through the process of it applying auto-tune. The computer is working. It's figuring out samples, vocal samples, and it is adjusting them in real time. So it sounds a bit weird. And this is a comment that I had on another video where somebody says, does auto-tune have a delay to it or a different sound? Because I swear that I can hear that sound when something's been auto-tuned. And it might be the case that you can hear the artifacts of the processing of auto-tune on the vocal, so that you might not know specifically that it's auto-tune, but you know that sound on somebody's voice. If record labels started to put on album covers, auto-tune has been used on this album, would people not buy that album? Somebody said to me in the comment section, what's the problem with auto-tune? Music is art, so if you like it, then you should just buy it, and it doesn't matter whether auto-tune's been used or not. And then I responded saying that I think art is all about being honest and just telling it how it is. And I think the reason that record labels don't put an auto-tuned sticker on their albums is because they know that it wouldn't sell as much, because people would try and find the true artists, the ones that are actually doing it. It's like saying, oh, okay, here's an example that I've just thought of. You go to an auction that is for a painting that might be by Picasso, and they don't tell you that it's a fake or a print, but you still pay 3 million. And you say, well, what's your problem? It's not the original, but it's exactly the same. We just printed it off, and we did it in eye-to-eye detail in terms of the pixelation, so you can't tell the difference. It's not the original, but give us your $3 million. I'm sure somebody would have a problem with that, saying, no, I'm paying for the original. I want the original artist that hasn't been messed with or hasn't been duplicated or faked. So this is why I think if they started putting auto-tune stickers on albums, they wouldn't sell as much. And they know this. Record labels know this. That's why they don't do it. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about whether you would start to lean away from artists who had an auto-tune sticker on their album and maybe start to lean towards those that don't have the stickers, who you know are the true artists, and what you hear is what they can produce live, and it's a true reflection of their ability and talent. But let's have a listen to Freddie Mercury, totally un-auto-tuned, and we'll have a look at the waveforms as well, so we can get an appreciation of what it looks like and what it sounds like to listen to a true voice.
Ooh, somebody, ooh, anybody find me somebody to love. Got no feel, I got no rhythm, I just keep losing my beat. I'm okay, I'm alright. I ain't gonna face nor defeat. I just gotta get out of this prison cell. Someday I'm gonna be free. Lord. Me somebody to love, find me somebody to love, find. Find me somebody. Find me, find me, find. Find me somebody to love, find. Ooh, find me somebody to love. Ooh.
I mean, just look at that. That is so impressive to look at the waveforms because they are so close. But like I said in that first video that I did, I could listen to Freddie sing a cappella all day. And it's great to get an appreciation of the waveforms, where his voice is going, but put all of that aside and just enjoy the music, because that's what it's all about. And that's why somebody who is heavily auto-tuned might not connect with as many people as somebody who isn't auto-tuned, because the person who's not auto-tuned is singing with their real voice and they're not concentrating on hitting exact pitches, they're singing with emotion, and that's what all the great singers do. Anyway, thank you guys for requesting this video, even though it's a bit of a different one, and as much as I feel musically and artistically it goes against everything that I stand for, but it's a great demonstration of what auto-tune is all about and what it looks like. And yeah, very strange to hear Freddie auto-tuned, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and keep those suggestions coming if there are any singers that you want to have put through the auto-tune test or compared with waveform analysis. Just give me those names or link me to those videos and I can maybe cover those in the future as well. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!